Thank you, MC. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, Tan Sri, and Tato, who are still here. Can I just request that you all settle down and then you can continue with your socializing afterwards? Because I'm not sure after Tan Sri Rahim's session, everybody got very excited and talking to each other. Appreciate that you're still here, but I would really appreciate more if you could just sort of give us another 45 minutes. Yeah. This is last but not the least session. And my name is Juwai Lau. Fortunate to be the moderator for this session. I was just telling Tan Sri Rahim, next time he has to be the moderator for the last session, because after him it's very difficult to try to beat his standard. Okay, everybody is still very busy, but we will continue and we will enjoy ourselves and then we'll get them to join us. So this session's topic is property technology, digitization, the housing and property sector. The word technology is a very big term used over and over again, especially when this COVID-19 first started. We don't know what could have happened. Being at home for more than 1.5 months and cannot get out of the house if we have not had technologies, whether it's Zoom, whether it's smartphones, whether with all the concerts and all that. And helping me, I'm very privileged to have 4 handsome, good-looking panelists today. And can I just introduce on my right-hand side? I always mix up between right and left. On my right-hand side, Mr. Ching. Mr. Poo is the CEO of Yes Boss Corporation. Poo is a technology guru. He's founder of a few technology solution company, and Yes Boss Corporation is just one of them. Yep. You can put your hand together later. Or now. Okay. And we have Georg. I'm not sure how to pronounce the full name, so I'll just call him Georg, and he said it's okay. Georg is the executive chairman of Juwai IQI Holdings, one of the Asia's largest prop tech company. And the third gentleman is Mr. David Hashim, now on my left-hand side, founder, group president, and director of VERITAS Design Group. I just asked him, are you a Malaysian? Because I always got confused. He said, yes. 100%. No need any test. And he founded VERITAS Design Group, which is a household name now. I thought there is an architecture firm, but I read the description. It's better described multidisciplinary design. That means more than just architect. Yeah, and he has since expanded to 7 countries. Very proud of him because it's a Malaysian brand. Yep, Malaysia Boleh. And last but not the least, actually what is not stated in his CV, and I've just asked for his permission to disclose if you are not already aware. Boon, or one of my good friends, he's the president of Malaysian Institute of Estate Agents. He is trainer, deal maker, and all that. But what you may not know, and this is related to technology, not necessarily property, technology, he is actually a very established YouTuber. Yes. Can I disclose the name? Yeah, I'll let him do it himself. So he has a lot of followers, and you will soon find out if it's not during this session, after this session, what does he do as a YouTuber? Very interesting story. And today, what are we supposed to achieve? Okay, now I got full attention. I'm so happy. So I think for today, right, we want to talk about property technology. Is it disruptive or otherwise? What are the challenges and opportunities is it created? How property technology has a role to play in smart home technologies? And what is a trend? And I think also how has it benefited and buyers, developers, estate agent, industrial players? And probably we can also relate it to COVID-19 pre and post, and how technology is going to drive us or drive industry forward. First of all, so the session will go as what has done previously. Each panelists will be allowed to speak not more than 7 minutes, after maximum 7 minutes. Oh, sorry, 8 minutes. 8 minutes. I'm testing whether anybody is listening or not. Good. So we have at least one gentleman who is listening. So after 8 minutes maximum, then we will have a Q&A. I have prepared some questions, but I think probably the questions will be answered in the context itself. And if I could call on Mr. Poo to share with us, Mr. Poo, as what I understand, will be sharing with us about data drive transformation, tax streamline regulatory, WFH, working from home phenomenon, technology use cases, Internet of Things, broad change, AI, and the road ahead. Can you put your hand together and welcome Mr. Poo? Yep. Thank you. Can you all be a bit more enthusiastic or not? Can I? Come on. Good afternoon. Let's welcome him. Thanks. That sounds better. We must have the OM. The fact that we are here, we are well, okay, we are healthy, and we can be here, we should give ourselves a big round of applause. Come, let's do it. Yep. Over to you, Mr. Poo.
Thank you. Thanks, Juwai. And thanks, KSI. It's actually such a great topic when we actually put in technology into real estate. My name is CL, a technology guy. I always tell people I'm a technology guy, 23rd year now. So I've actually involved in real estate, I think about 9 years now. So I would like to actually start out with this story. I read this in the internet news. I think about 2 weeks. The Harbin story. I like to actually talk about story, then we can actually relate into our life. Real estate is our life, isn't it? What happened is, there's an old man in Harbin. Yeah, he's trying to take a public transport. In this case, it's a bus. And guess what? The bus driver said that, Mr. Old Man, you can't come up. Why? You're not using a smartphone. You don't have a QR code. So what happened is, this old man says that, no, I insist because I do not know how to get back home. I don't have enough money to take a cab. So what happened is, inside the bus, everybody is actually looking at him and says that, no, Mr. Old Man, you better get it down. Because why? You are the one that not going to upgrade yourself. You don't have a handphone and you don't have a QR code. All of us is actually rushing to work. Please get down. And the old man continued to say that, no, I'm not going to get down. I want to go back home. So what happened is, after that, police came. Guess what? The police says that, Mr. Old Man, this is rule and regulation. You can't sit in the bus. What is this story tells you? Don't get me wrong. Whatever things that we're chasing today, be it in technology, be it whatever it is, we need to think everything holistically. Is that means that because of the old man is not having a smartphone, he can't actually take a bus? No, it is right, isn't it? He has contributed to the country. He has contributed to the world. We can't actually take away his rights. So why actually I would like to start out with this story? When I see this, it touched me. I'm 23 years old in technology. But when we actually implement technology, in this case in prop tech or real estate technology, should we actually just moving forward because of technology, or we should look things holistically? So I would like to actually start out with this story. It's a real story. Don't believe on me. Google it or whatsoever. So this is the topics that we are going to talk about it today. I would like to start up. The first thing is yesterday, today, and tomorrow. What does actually this means? When talking about technology, let's be more specific. When we talk about new technology, what is that definition? Technology that I haven't implemented. But is it a new technology? Per se, I'm talking about everywhere in the world. Not necessary. Someone actually have been done it before. I give you a good example. Today, I see a lot of technology out there is actually based on website. I've actually involved in some of the non-profit organization or whatsoever. They actually say that, we are going tech. What are you going to do? I'm going to set up a website. Don't get me wrong. Is it new technology? To them, it is. But to us, to the whole industry, in this case, in Malaysia perspective, should we actually look at yesterday? Should we look at now, which is today, or we should look at tomorrow? I would like to actually give another example like China. Previous session, a lot of them talking about China. Does China use credit cards? No. When we are using credit cards, they are not there yet. But today, they're actually cashless, they're number one. What we're actually trying to say is it's very important for us to position ourselves. What are we going to do? In this case, in real estate. Right? Then we are going to talk about more, which I'm not going to repeat because of time factors, because YY only give us 8 minutes. I'm just kidding. So this is actually, when I actually prepared these slides, it took me some time to find what is actually the best way to present. I like visual. I don't like to have a lot of words. What is this actually this? This is an Oscar-winning movie, right? The title is also Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. What this means is there's actually a lady trying to avoid the law. I'm not going to go in details. Because of that, right? If you are pregnant, you are not going to be involved in the law. So what happened is this lady has 7 children and avoid the law for 7 years. What I'm trying to say is here, when we're actually talking about real estate technology, same thing as real estate. We're talking about technology for many, many, many years. Does it change? Frankly, not really. A little bit, but not really. Are we going to avoid this? Yes, we can. But we are going to miss the boat. Okay, so that's a very important thing. We're talking about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Whenever you are evaluating a technology, think about this holistically, not just yourself. Think about what your user wants. Some of you all might say, Mr. Boon, how am I going to know what my users wants? What my customer wants? Right? Just now, Kazana research, doctor actually mentioned that everything is based on supply and demand, which is true, but what your users wants. How can we know this? This brings us to the next topic. Data. I don't know whether you believe in me or not. Previous session, even Tan Sri Him and the panels actually shared that, hey, data is very important. They know this, they know that, they know this, they know that. And at the end of the day, there's actually some arguments saying, hey, no, this is the right way. What if one day robots can tell you? It won't get wrong, but the data that we collect is very, very important. Mr. Boon, I still don't get you. Okay, very simple. Can you take up your phone now, this afternoon? Bring up, especially when you have an Android phone. I want you to go to this website. www.google.com/maps, MAPS/timeline. What do you see? I'm not going to go further on that. It actually tracks when you use this phone, when you use this account, where have you been? The wife out there, you can check your husband. I'm just kidding. This is real. What I'm trying to tell you here is, you like it or not, today, your data is being captured everywhere. So if we be able to make use of this, don't get me wrong, data privacy for sure, yes. That's why there's actually a lot of regulatory that we're going to talk about. And during the lunchtime just now, I'm actually at the second table with the SP Satir friends. Now I just got to know them. They actually tell me a very, very important information which I'm going to share here, which also proved that data is so important. What they actually told me is, a very interesting data. If let's say you are a MAPIS or YAPIS, the young generation, you prefer a landed or you prefer a condo? The answer is condos. Just for you don't believe me, go and search on this. But very interesting things that just now when they shared with me, they say that no, from their actually data, all of the users like landed. I got a shock. Oh, really? This is the power of data. If we do not have data, we don't have all those capturing, you will lose out. This is because of, by the way, MCO. But I'm not going to go in detail about that. So first concept is data. Second concept is regulatory. Tax streamline regulatory. I'm very happy that when I actually heard about BOVIAC or JPPH past DG SR Khairuddin, do you know that JPPH has actually spent millions of dollars collecting or combining all the state's data? Trust me, in very, very near future, all this will be digitized. So we as actually a developers or private companies, make use of that. Malaysia government is really, really heading towards that. Make use of this, and tech will actually streamline the regulatory. When we're actually talking about titles, our mirror principles, which I'm not going to go in details, all this will be able to capture. How good it is one day, your house, you know that who actually stayed before, or what's actually information there. I know my time, very quickly go through. Okay, next is actually talking about work from home. I'm going to quickly go through this because of this MCO. If you are a developer out there, and if you are government out there, think about this. You need to ensure all this is being equipped. Does the new development that you actually put in, is it equipped with work from home? If you say that in order for us to work from home, we need this A, B, C, D, do a study. Get experts to do this, embark into this. Okay? So in France, there's a lot of hurdles. It's whether we want to move forward or not going to move forward. This is the slide that I showed last year during these similar events. I'm going to show again, because we still need to know this. What is actually this photo? It's in KLIA 2. At that time, nobody is actually on the left-hand side. What does that mean? All those are machines going through customs. And those manual ones, there's lots of people queuing up. Where are we going to? You can choose. But today, if let's say the machines are not working, a lot of people say, oh, why not? It's not working. Real estate technology is the same. Are you going to make the first move or you're not? Your choice. So this is what we have done. Time factors. We actually just tell you three things. We have touched IoTs, Internet of Things. All those things that we capture, we put into, there's no longer use database. We use blockchain. Blockchain is undestroyable. It's decentralized. Once the data we get, we put in AI, artificial intelligence. Time factors, again, if you are interested, let me know. We can have coffee anytime. So this is my last slide, but just give me another 1 minute. As you can see, all those are icons. There's actually cameras. There's also calculators. There's clock. There's phone. There's calendar. Are those things new? No, 1960s already have that, even 1940s. But what is all this icon? It's in your phone. So real estate will be the same thing. Will real estate still stay? It will still stay. Basic fundamental, it will still be there. But transform, have a mindset, use technology, real estate will be the next wave. And even better, if we start in Malaysia, Malaysia will be the next wave. Even maybe can contribute in our GDP. Okay? That's about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Yale, for a very interesting presentation. So you can ask questions after all the presentations. Yep. So can we have Georg to share with us, maximum 8 minutes?
Thank you.
And maybe I can tell you a little bit what Georg is going to share. So Georg is going to share with us about, let me just get it right, disruption in the property sector, his personal experience, what works and what doesn't work, and where he thinks how we can establish the next journey. Yep. Over to you. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. What I'm going to talk to you about, actually, I won't talk about technology. The topic is technology trends, but it's not technology which is pushing progress. It's change in the society. It's external factors. There's a study done by Microsoft. They said over the last 2 months, we have more technological change than we normally have over 2 years. And Accenture came out a bit later saying over the last 3 months, we had more change than we have normally over 3 years. So everybody has a similar concept. But the key is really, this wasn't driven by technology. Zoom was around before. I've used Zoom before, but nobody used it because there was no need for it. And that's at the essence what makes a good or a failing disruptive company. Everybody likes to use the word disruption. But disruption is really all about solving problems in the real world, making things easier by using technology. Not, here is some technology and it sounds good and nobody understands what it means. I mean, let's say blockchain or something else really random, and then let's raise some money and be rich. That is not disruption. That's not how it works. Google came out of a couple of factors, but mostly also by the strong rollout of the internet. Walt Disney came up after the Wall Street crashed in 1929 because people needed light entertainment. They needed a change and so on. So it's not technology driving it. It's solving a problem with technology. So the companies I worked for one of them was iProperty, which I was running, and the aim was in the sub-sales market, in the used property market, so to speak, to use technology to make the search easier, to make it more transparent. If you go through a newspaper, you'll go crazy if you search and compare and do other things. Online, it's like this. However, that's for the used. For the new, it's slightly different. It's more about transparency, and you're also automatically in a different market if you're in the the developer segment. In the developer segment, it's very much about also data. It's deriving information to make the next property sell better or be more attractive or be easier to manage. Because, when you buy a property, investment property or any property, you want an appreciation. And in order to get the appreciation, you've got running costs and so on. Many, many people predicted, actually, not long ago that, the traditional real estate agency will be replaced by portals. And to be very frank, it's not true. Neither the portal nor the real estate agency, the traditional one, is the future model. I think personally, and that's also probably because I'm working for Juwai, I do believe the two things coming together is the future. Technology solving real business problems. During the COVID crisis, portals generating leads didn't really achieve anything because nobody could act on the leads. And real estate offices, which had people trying to sell without leads, couldn't achieve anything. Only when you bring the two things together. There's still a few things to do, but I do believe that the process is almost fully automated. The biggest roadblocks for us were banks not processing loan applications. So people wanted to buy but couldn't buy because the banks are in many cases very old-fashioned. And the other thing is the title office, because nothing was happening there. Once we have these two solved, and we can solve it with technology, I mentioned blockchain earlier, that's an easy fix, and also new banks rather than the traditional banks or rejuvenated existing banks, then the future will be really, really powerful and exciting. But coming back to the ultimate thing, this is not done by throwing technology out there and hoping somebody bites. This is about looking at real business problems. So many of the new startups come out and say, I've got the latest whatever rental app and whatever, but often these people lack any real estate knowledge. It's a bit like saying, okay, I have got the new Grab of the future, but I don't actually know how to drive a car. It simply is not as it sometimes sounds. So driverless cars is technology. But at this stage for Malaysia, I would not recommend driverless cars because the infrastructure is not there yet. We would all crash. So at the moment, we need a driver in the car. Maybe in the future, we don't need a driver anymore. But for the moment, using this as an example, the technology is solving the problem of a taxi driver, and we've all experienced it, refusing to switch on the meter and charge based on random criteria, or the taxi being sloppy and you can't tell anyone about it, or you forget something and you never find it again because you have actually no idea in which taxi you were, because who of us took pictures of the ID of the taxi driver and so on. That is disruption, solving real challenges and problems of the real world. And if you do that, then you will be successful. Then you will be in a really disruptive business and build value and build growth. I don't need 8 minutes. I disrupted myself.
Thanks, George, for sharing with us the secret to success and wealth creation. Thanks. Now, our Malaysian architect is waiting, David Hashim, to share with us about smart home, about how smart technologies has now going into our homes or going to be our future homes. Over to you.
Wow, thank you, YY. Yes, I am very proud to be a Malaysian. Good afternoon, everybody. And, usually when I give presentations, I usually have a PowerPoint behind me and I talk about design trends. But I was it's very interesting that the conference has chosen me to speak about a topic on technology as an architect. Because anyway, it is one of great interest to me, and I'm hoping to share with developers here especially 5 very practical areas that I think every developer who wants to remain in this game will have to think about, because digitization is having a profound influence on the global housing development industry, not just in Malaysia, where we have a lot of work, but also in all the other countries where we are active. So the 5 trends that I think are going to change the nature of this game are, number 1 is big data. You've heard people speak about that. You need to understand it. You need to access it. Number 2 is social media. You need to know how to play that game. Everyone knows, their Twitter and their Instagram, but it goes far beyond that. The third one, as Juwai mentioned, is smart homes, which is a very practical micro application. On a larger urban scale is smart cities. So especially if you are a developer playing in the bigger scale of things, understanding what that's all about. And the last one is BIM, Building Information Modeling. These are the 5 areas that I see we have, in my own practice, have spent a lot of time thinking about over the last few years. So first one is big data. And that's all about making it easier for developers to decide what to build, where to build, when to build, and for whom, and at what price. We've heard earlier Dr. Steve Lebroy saying that one of the problems is lack of information. Now, of course, we have NAPIC. NAPIC is fine, and it carries some data, but big private data analytic firms are out there which carry streams and streams of information, which if you know how to use it, they have algorithms that can study a lot of things that can help developers understand what to build. That includes things like traffic, understanding public systems, private systems of traffic, pedestrianized systems of traffic, who passes your site, for example. Demographics, what about the age, the gender, the ethnicity of the people that you're in that particular geographic location, income levels, economic factors, where the economy is going. We heard people talk about the economy earlier. Bank lending practices, also as part of data analytics. You need to know what are the policies that are there for your sales. Buyers' preferences in terms of unit sizes, number of bedrooms per unit, facilities that are provided. All this is out there if you know how to gather it and bring it into your decision-making for your own project. Your predictions can be far more accurate. Now, this information I know this information is out there because the government has it all. Every project has to submit SIA, social impact assessments, and environmental impact assessments, traffic impact assessments. The data's there. If you need someone to gather it all and put it forward in a comprehensible way so that developers can meet their targets and have successful launches. The second one is social media. We all know what social media is, and it's had an incredible impact on our industry. We're talking about Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, now TikTok, latest one, and the activity of websites and blogs especially. That is the primary communication of young people today. They don't read newspapers. They don't read magazines. They don't even watch TV. You're wasting your money on all those advertising. You need to think through this new paradigm of social media. Gen Ys, Gen Zs, they get their information. They make decisions on property to buy through their friends. That's how they decide whether they're going to buy your apartment. The other thing is the role of online influencers becoming very important now. Property endorsements on their blogs either can make a big difference in your property sales, and God forbid you piss them off, because if you do, they will their bad reviews can be devastating. Just forget about it. So be aware of the role of influencers. Celebrities are often targeted, but also professionals are used. Now, the other thing is mobile apps. I'm beginning to see mobile apps that developers provide for marketing. So you can download an app on your Android or your iPhone, and you can hear all about a project. Well, that's old news. Now, those apps are being used to track the project. Say you bought the unit, so you can now track the progress on site. Maybe they've got live cameras on site, so you can watch the project coming up. It's also great for stage billing. And eventually, when the projects are completed, these apps can evolve into a community connectivity format for the JMB. So a lot of developers are thinking out of the box and using these new technologies to create market share. And actually, there are consultants out there who advise developers on how to make use of all this social media. Would you believe it? And lastly, another aspect of social media, before I move on, is that it supports new types of property development. Now, you all heard about Airbnb and Grab. Now, these are just two examples of how apps are changing the world of property development. There are developments out there which are targeted for Airbnb. You know, they particularly tell the buyers, if you buy my unit, you put it on Airbnb, it's created for that. And of course, Grab has changed how car parks are being built. And of course, we heard about co-working arrangements. And if you understand how social media works, you'll understand what's needed in a co-working environment to be a part of your development. The third area is smart homes. Now, we all think we know what smart homes are, but this is making a tremendous impact on property development. I was in Korea last year, and I visited a Samsung smart home show unit, and it was really quite amazing. Now, like we heard earlier, some of these technologies may be ahead of their time, but eventually they will get there. So we have situations where you walk up to the door of your unit, and your door recognizes you, and it opens for you. It might even say, "Good afternoon, wife, nice having you back. Would you like the temperature to be your normal? And by the way, your son is out at the school and your daughter is still at a ballet class." All of that is possible. Face fingerprint recognition on automatic doors. These have all become old school. Voice-activated personal comfort controls in which you can actually preset in advance. So you can turn your air conditioner on through your handphone before you come home. Of course, high-speed internet, because we've heard about working from home, which is the new norm. That has to be part of your projects. The Internet of Things connects everything up. And smart sustainability systems that control your energy, because everything in the future is going to be about energy, to maximize the efficiency of waste that you create. And of course, smart vertical transportation systems are all part of what's going to make developers winners and losers in the future. And there are companies that partner with developers, like we all know Samsung is one, Huawei is another, that will actually help you take your product to another level. The larger scale of smart homes is smart cities. It's the same thing, but at a larger scale. And these smart cities are being planned and designed as we speak. They say Putrajaya is a smart city. I'm not sure. Maybe it's partially. But these are systems that manage your traffic, your parking, your security, your access, your lighting, energy efficiency, flood mitigation, water, waste recycling. Basically, the whole ecosystem of a city can be managed, just like a home, but at a larger scale. And some private large developers who we work with, we know, are leveraging all of this and all the benefits for these kinds of things to market their projects, to get a competitive advantage over others. And by providing enhanced digital infrastructure and high-speed internet, they can lure top-notch global corporations which require back-office data centers, R&D facilities, and so on. One of them I know is iCity in Selangor, which totally markets themselves as being the future, city of the future, and it really is quite impressive. And of course, in the future, smart cities will embrace more complex aspects of digital revolution, such as fourth industrial revolution, robotics, automation, and so on. The last area that I want to talk about is BIM, Building Information Modeling. And really, this technology has transformed the way buildings are designed and built. So software like Revit, which is the most popular one for architects and engineers, used by a project team, basically eliminates all the conventional problems that we've had. You know, you developers are always complaining about variation orders and mistakes on drawings. It's literally impossible to do this if you use Revit, because unlike AutoCAD, Revit is an actual, real 3D intelligent representation of the building that you're designing. So it's fully coordinated. And these 3D live models can also be used to produce multiple visualizations of a project. It can be used to create virtual reality of your projects or augmented reality. It's great for marketing and sales. It's really tremendous if you really know how to use it. But most importantly, and more importantly, the BIM model allows for automatic extraction of quantities, so your pre-tender estimates will be more accurate, and it makes procurement of your subcontracts, your supply materials, all very, very efficient, and you cut down a lot of time. And during construction, this is where it gets really interesting, BIM can be used to track actual work progress compared to schedule, and also eliminates the likelihood of delays while accurately calculating stage payments, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of advantages to it. And later, when the project is finished, the BIM model can be used by the JMB to manage the maintenance, repair, and interaction with tenants. So we really encourage all developers to move in this direction. I'm just finishing up now. And of course, I haven't talked about industrialized building systems, but IBS works very well hand in hand with that. So in conclusion, the 5 areas I've mentioned, they're probably not exhaustive, and I've overlooked a few applications, but I really think that smart developers out there need to be up to date with the latest trends in this digital technology, which keeps changing. You've heard what was 1 year is now 2 months. One way, and I know some companies who have hired a digital technology executive in their company, otherwise known as a chief information officer in the old speak, who's familiar with all these trends and how they can navigate through them to make sure that they stay ahead. And anyway, if you didn't get anything I said, my last advice is ask your kids. Thank you.
Ask your kids. Thanks, David, for the 5 trends: big data, social media, smartphones, smart cities, and BIM. At the rate which we are going, ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you we will complete on time at 4:45, if not earlier. Yeah, we are very efficient and effective. Yeah, probably we have all applied technologies in one way or another, including ringing the bell. Yeah. Last but not the least, can we have Boon sharing with us? Boon wants to talk about the initiative which MIA, Malaysian Institute of Estate Agents, has done with the various technology initiative, property technology initiative. Over to you, Boon.
Thanks, Juwai. Now, I would like to start with, actually, this couple of years, the keywords here, disruptive. It has been the words that was conveyed to us, to MIA, complain. But probably the better word is complain. Complain to MIA on almost a weekly basis or monthly basis. Almost every month there's a new prop tech company coming up, and then the agent will start jumping up and down and complaining that, "Hey, somebody else is coming to take away our RESPO." Now, from my perspective or point of view, to me it's very simple. Rather than to waste time complaining about this, I would rather to look at it from a more positive point of view. Why don't we look at it as go and learn, rather than look at IT as a disruption? Why don't we start learning how to make use of IT as an enabler to make our service better, and most importantly, increase our sales? And I totally agree with what Georg mentioned just now. The future of property agency is not property portal, it's not agent, it's a combination. Because property portal is going to help us to create the reach. Agents then use these leads to close deal. This is how it works, all right? And if any agent doesn't have any online presence right now, it will be very difficult for them to survive. Previously, we do marketing, we do advertising. Today, we actually call it lead generation. Through creating reach and impression. For your information, YY, sidetrack a little bit. YY mentioned about the fact that I'm a YouTuber. My YouTube channel actually has an impression of 28 million in a month. Organically, that meaning is without paying a single cent. So, coming back to this, sponsored reach and organic reach now becomes very important. Most people knows how to do the sponsor reach. You pay money to the social media platforms, they will advertise and boost the post for you. That one, everyone to do. Everyone knows how to do. But the problem is, the cost per lead, the cost per lead now becomes more and more expensive. So if you are one of the players and if you want to continue boost your postings, you will have to learn how to do organic reach, like how I achieved my 28 million in 30 days, okay, without paying a single cent. Organic is where you make use of social media platform to create a branding for yourself. You have followers, and whenever you post something on your social media accounts, either Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, you will have a good number of people seeing your post without you having to pay a single cent. And in order to do this, you need to understand algorithms. So YouTube has its own algorithm, Facebook has algorithm, IG also has an algorithm. I don't pay IG, Instagram much because I always think Instagram is just for pretty girls. But Facebook, anyone knows what's the latest algorithm of Facebook today? Try to Facebook Live. Now, through social media branding as well, after the good following, you will also become a KOL, as mentioned by my neighbor here just now. So when you are an influencer, actually like me right now, we actually will get a lot of brands invitation. We get a lot of sponsorships. So a lot of brands come to me almost every week. And also in the online world, there's no border. You can create international presence easily, reaching out to international buyers. Right. Now, coming back to what is actually MIA currently doing in helping our practitioner to really write on the technologies, one of the things we do was something we actually launched 2 weeks right before MCO. It is this app called MIA Agent Data. As the first speaker mentioned just now, JPPS is actually digitizing the transaction data. So, of course, we already have a third-party service provider doing that in the market, like Bricks. So, our MIA agent data, what differs us from them is we have two-tier data. The first tier is under this app, you can search over 20 years of past Malaysian transaction data and some of the latest rental data as well in the apps. But it is the second tier that really makes us different. The first tier of the data from JPPS, we all have to understand it is minimum 2 to 3 months behind. It is not very timely. So we come into this, we put in this tier 2, where we actually call it the agent data. MIA have bought about close to 7,000 members, real estate agents and negotiators all over Malaysia right now, where we will actually we just started to try to gather all their latest transaction data from them directly. The moment they collected a deposit today, we will request them to submit their transaction to us. So rather than to wait for 2-3 months to know what exactly is the market happening, MIA data, this particular as we will be having the latest data then. Whatever closed today, we know this property has been sold today in our apps. But of course, we are still in the infancy stage, starting to collecting data. It will take a bit of time, but we will get there. But once we get there, and when we get the traction, we believe this particular apps that we are doing right now is going to be very powerful, and it's going to be useful for many, not just agents, but also developers or a lot of property investors as well. Other than that, we also launched this MIA loan check, where we work together with a strategic partner with Finology. So, as you all know, one of the biggest problem with purchasing house purchase right now is not about finding purchaser. Purchasers is there. Loan cannot get through. So, we actually, through this particular MIA loan check, we will be able to identify this, to allow the buyer to know the response from minimum 17 banks, whether or not his loan can be approved or not within 10 minutes. The next thing we did, we actually launched this thing during MCO time. We call it MIEAMLS.com. It is now one of the pain point of the property portals in Malaysia, especially in Malaysia nowadays, is out of 10 listings that you found from the property portal, sometimes 30%, 40% of it are fake listing. I'm sorry to say, but it is fake listing. Either the pictures are fake or the information inside is fake, but something is fake. So this is why MIA, we come out with what we call the most trustable property portal here, but it is not really meant for the general public. It is actually a B2B, agent-to-agent, co-agency platform. Because we believe co-agency is the way forward. Compared to from where I started doing this business way back 20 over years ago. Now, it takes one buyer's agent and owner's agent to close deal. So we provide this B2B platform. We will make sure all the information, all the data inside this platform is managed by MIA. It will be 100% real and genuine data. Then MIA is going to come out with this thing called MIA Insure, where we already collaborated with one of the Asian biggest insurance broker firm, that we are going to come up with a lot of different kinds of property-related insurance that we think it will actually help and benefit either our client or our members. And also, one of the things we are also currently thinking and developing is what we call an MIA online auction. I just sold my car recently. I didn't sell it to a car dealer directly. I actually sold it through an online platform, which gives me 20% higher than what I can sell to a normal car dealer. You will be surprised to see how efficient this particular platform is. My car is sold to a second-hand dealer at a 10 to 20% higher price, higher than the trade-in market price, within 24 hours. Super efficient. We actually feel the auction is also one way to go. And I think most importantly is this. Agents need to acquire new skill sets, such as start making videos, shootings, editing, VR, digital presentation, and also, of course, you need to also go and learn about algorithms. Okay? So this is how, if we change ourselves, I think agents and also PropTech, we will be able to benefit each other now, tomorrow, and future. Thank you.
Thank you. Just right on time on all the apps, applications, algorithms, and how you don't need to pay for sponsored FB advertisement, FB sponsored, whatever you call that. Yeah, thank you very much. Let's give the panel a big round of applause for all able to complete on time. We have 30 minutes, and before I ask some questions, maybe we could open up to the floor for you to ask. You can either ask all of them or ask one of them, up to you. So maybe I start first so that you can warm up, because the aircon is very cold. Okay, I have 2 questions. My first question is, it would appear that we all agree that technology is good and that is the way to go. Can you think of any challenges, or I wouldn't say challenges, disadvantages, or any reason why technology is actually not as good as what you think? Yeah.
You know, why I think, as we've heard today, sometimes technologies get too far ahead of themselves. And vendors of these technologies love to promote what they can make. But if the buying public is not ready for it, then it will just end up being a wasted cost. And in fact, it will end up having a negative effect, because people will start to become wary of technology. When it is actually usable and suitable, they will deny it. So there is a right time for the right level of technology. Do we really need a house that welcomes you by your name? Maybe not, especially if it's going to cost a lot of money. So that's why I think there's a time and place for all technology, and we shouldn't go too far ahead.
Thanks. What does other thing? Immediately I think of, what if I bring a boyfriend and then the technology called the wrong name or called a previous name?
Well, I think that comes back to the underlying problem.
No, not that I'm just thinking of a situation.
Yes. No.
George.
No, I mean,
the technology becomes too smart. Yeah.
from my side, it's I mean, technology is good, but I come back to it should solve real challenges or real problems in the real world, and we should not forget that while technology is actually improving year after year after year, now this sounds very negative, humans haven't actually evolved over the last 1,000 years or so, or 1,000,000 years, and technology bears a big risk that it makes certain of our not so good qualities much more effective. And that's where we need to be careful of. I mean, you know, people always say, oh, big data is really dangerous and whatever, technology is the problem. It's not the technology, because it's actually what the human does with the technology. The technology needs a responsible human. And that's fundamentally important, because, I mean, you can kill someone with a chair, and the purpose of a chair is actually to sit on. And people could say, how could we invent a chair when people get killed by a chair? And the same thing is true with big data. I mean, you have online trolls, you've got suicides because of kids and adults being bullied online and so on. But the issue is actually, let's be fair, not the technology, it's unfortunately the human.
Yeah,
Thank
maybe
you.
I need to voice out something. I'm a technology guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree to disagree, right? What actually happened is, when talking about technology, whether you like it or not, it actually happens every second. Now, one day when we wake up, things is already happened. Okay, so this is actually the first thing that I would like to share with all of you here. We can choose not to do anything, as we said yesterday, today. If we are embarking in today's technology, it's actually today. We can also go back to yesterday technology, or we also can choose future technology. This will make a difference in the next 5 years. I'm not scaring you. Even next 3 years, you'll make a difference in the real estate industry. You also can choose the status quo that you maintain as today. For the next 3 or 5 years, other company will overtake you. There's actually one small little things I would like to share, which I have a lot of technology guys. We have a user groups that we actually discuss. Do you know that no matter how big your company is today, if you are actually not involved in digital world, in the next 6 months to a year, guess what? People will not know you. The new company that embark into technology will replace you. Don't believe me. Let's talking about this next 3 years. If it happens, let's have a cup of coffee. So that's my opinion. Yeah.
If I may.
Next, make me worry, because I'm not Instagram enthusiast, and I don't use. I'm not active Facebook user.
If I may add to these questions, just let me easily quote one real case. There was one lady. She's the owner of one bangsa house with easily worth few millions. Her house has been put on a Facebook fan page, property fan page, for sale. She never wanted to sell her house. Okay? And the problem here is, nobody know who posted that. Why? Because fan page, you can't check ownership. Facebook fan page, you cannot check ownership. You don't even know who owns that particular fan page. And there's nobody to really talk about. So she has been complaining to the whole world, coming to MIA, going to the police, going to the board of valuers. But in the end of the day, there's nothing really much you can do. So technology, I think the down part of this is that it can be abused very easily.
Okay, thanks. So in relation to that, there were two more issues which I'm thinking of. Now, this technology, right, I think give rise, I'm not sure whether it's correct to say, I think more security issues, cyber fraud,
I think
whatever.
the privacy data thing is
scam,
more.
You know.
It's
now,
very
if you
easier.
receive something from SMS, from WhatsApp, from email, everything can be, I mean, it could be a scam, it could be a security. So, how do we sort of take precautions or balance to know, when a bank sends you something, actually it's not the bank. When you go to a website, you think you registered for ABC or for MIA, and you paid money to sign up something, but actually that is not the MIA which you have in mind, things like that.
I personally think actually it's becoming safer than less safer, because cracking the modern algorithm takes a lot of time, but the key is not to stand still. So you can never stand still, because obviously, the next level of encryption is using quantum computers, and not many countries actually manage quantum. Chinese manage it. They have satellites which are quantum with quantum computers deciphered, so you can't actually break it. But the traditional way is you write it on a paper and you lock the paper in a cupboard or in a safe. Everybody can open the safe. The big challenge with online is that once you break it, you get access to a lot of information very easily. So I would say, is it easier? Is it more dangerous right now? I actually don't know. I honestly can't tell you. I don't think it's easier or harder. It's just different. And it's an evolution. That will be my feedback. Maybe you have the answer.
Or what can we do to prevent this?
I wouldn't say to prevent. I agree with what George actually mentioned. Right? Important thing when we talk about technology, right? We don't just see at one side. We just don't see just as soft side. There's a hardware. There's actually a software. We need to plus the software with the hardware. So in the security terms, where we actually involve a lot in Microsoft, there's a multi-factor authentication. Imagine if, let's say, we do not have technology. If, let's say, today we go to the bank, I'll just give you an example. We want to withdraw money, we just sign a check. Does it the right guy that signed the check? Well, nobody knows that, right? We just need to be able to compare, hey, this is similar, go through. But if we go through technology, hey, we send a text to your phone, and we know it's him, he logs it in, and there'll be a multiple check and balance. So I tend to agree with what George actually mentioned, is it will be safer. Okay. And to address another thing is when you hack in and everything is you got it. If you have time, I just throw it out, so that you'll be able to time factors. Go and find out what is blockchain. Till date so far, touch wood, nobody has hacked blockchain. And blockchain, once you build up, it cannot be destroyed. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I will continue to ask questions until you want to ask. Yeah, otherwise please enjoy my questions and their answers.
You all better ask, you know why? If not, after that, all of us will charge you a coffee.
It's free for now because you have paid for it. Yeah. Can you identify yourself, and if you could
Hello?
speak a little bit louder? Thanks. Yeah. Hi, Amana.
Sorry. We have a product that we launched in February. Now, unfortunately, MCO happened. So we were not able to complete our show house. So what we did was we developed VR and AR via using BIM. And it was an amazing product, I must say that. However, as a developer, we went into that, but for consumer, they are still not receptive. Yeah? Big ticket items, you're talking about item that's worth more than 500,000. Malaysians per se, is very much I need to touch, I need to feel, I need to walk around, I need to see, correct? It's very much, in that 3 months during MCO, there was a lot of education, advocating, and it was really difficult to sell. It was really a struggle for us until we came back after our MCO and rushed for the show house for them to go and feel and see. So, hence, as much as technology is good for us, it's, like you said, it is a far ahead. And not many are still very receptive towards that. I think that's all I just wanted to share. As much as we are going into, a lot of technology things going on. We are willing to go in. We are willing to invest in terms of marketing. But is the consumer, the profiling our consumer, especially, no offense, 40 and above, are they really ready for that? Thank you.
Amina, is it, or Amana?
Amana.
Amanda. So, can I ask you a question? Yes, but by setting up AR, VR using PIM and all that, right? Do you feel that you have helped in quicken the process? Like maybe in a normal situation, you have a sales gallery, they will come maybe 1 time, 2 time, but because maybe they have seen the AR, VR, so they make a decision quicker, or that had helped? Not or not at all.
Well, we take them through because it was all during the MCO, right? So we really need to take them through Zoom.
Okay.
So we were doing all this presentation using Teams or Zoom, and they could not make the decision. So they waited until after that 3 months, until the show house is ready for them to come in and have a look at the real show house to make the decision to book. That's it.
So all your virtual activities, right? Would you say that it has helped at all, or actually it's not it's the same? You might as well, if you have not done anything, just wait after MCO and do the sales and all that. The result will
No,
be the
I
same.
disagree on that. I mean, it does work, like I said, but not to all the consumer.
Cannot
I mean,
be replaced.
Yeah, I mean, the profile of buyers, like I said again, it has to be, I mean, especially you're talking about big ticket items, 500,000 and above. You're not talking about someone who's 28, 30 years old, who is so into, well, David did say, we don't know, we don't understand us, our kids. I've got a 20 years old kid who knows better than half of the people in my office. I'm sorry to say that, you know, but the thing is this, but the buyers are not our 28 years old. Half of our buyers are 35 years and above who can afford to buy, you know, and they are the one who's not comfortable. You see, they're not the ones. So a bigger percentage are still not comfortable to go into technology per se. That's all I just want to say.
Can I have
Thanks.
a chance to?
Sure.
So I agree with Amin on this. Most virtual reality platforms evolved from gaming platforms, and so they tend to be too immersive. This is when you put on those goggles and you get lost. We have clients that we put those on and they fall off the chair. You know, so I think some of these technologies are not really ready for the consumer market yet. They need to evolve and become more friendly. The non-immersive ones, where you're looking at a screen, are much more user-friendly. But I also think that if you're in the market for micro units, for example, micro unit housing is a new fad. And here in KL, we're doing some projects like that. These are 350 square foot units selling for 400,000 ringgit. Now you're talking about a different market now. Now you're talking about the Gen Z, Gen Ys in TOD projects in the KLCC area. That's when you start to think about these different mediums of presentation. And I think they can supplement, not necessarily, they will never replace, but they can supplement the show units, the actual built show units.
Thank you.
Can I add on?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm passionate about technology. That's always sorry for that.
Technology
I
guru.
mean, I would like to actually share it from a different angle. I would like to ask a question. Do you know what is Malaysian average age? Yeah, median. What is Malaysia average age?
Less than 35?
35, 45, 35. The answer is 31. Don't believe me.
31.
Yeah, don't believe me. Try check it out. Why I would like to address this from that angle. Buying house, I tend to agree with you, right? It depending who is buying the house. That's the main thing.
Decision makers.
Exactly. So today, if let's say I'm what is actually my age? Am I going to buy that? If your target will be them, you have to go to that. If today we are targeting a 60, 70 years old guy to buy for his kids, definitely the answer is no. But the question comes back to this: how are we going to know? You like it or not, you have to go technology. Data. Remember the one of the slides I slotted on. Data. You need to start collecting in order to do the right decision. It's not like after you actually do that, you say that this is the wrong thing. Once we have data, we'll be able to do analysis, then we actually target on them. In marketing, we call STP, segmentation, targeting, and positioning. So this actually just want to answer you in that manner. Right?
But-
I hope, yeah.
But CL, you see, it's the 31 years old who wants to buy houses, but normally they are financed by the older one, who is not the 31, who probably the 31 times 2,
This
the father,
answer-
the parents. Yeah.
This answer what Amina is actually facing.
Yeah.
Right? They're actually going through this, but they can't make decision and until the show unit is built. Right?
Yeah, the financials. Yeah, the financials who is more than 31 years old financing the 31 years old. There's a lot of developers here, I think. Is there anybody who wants to share? Thanks, Amana for SP Sadia who shared the experience. Is there anybody else from the developer office who want to share, or real estate agents or whatever, who want to share your experience using technology, whether it's good or not so good or whatever, the success or maybe
Perhaps I can
success
share one.
story? Yeah.
I can
Sure.
share one.
Thanks,
One of my clients, he's also a developer in Malaysia, but he has this project in Singapore during the first month of circuit breaker. In Singapore, they call it circuit breaker. During the first month of circuit breaker, through a property portal, they managed to sell over 300 million Sing dollar worth of project. How they did that? This property portal helps them to reach China property agent. How does this China property agent did it? They go, each and every one of them go and talk to their own loyal customer. You see, all agents, we have our loyal customer with us. Like me, I have customers who follow me for the past 20 years. To put it in the simplest way, he trusts me so much until if I tell him that, hey, this one can buy, he will just buy. Okay? So these things happen especially to the more experienced agents. So the same thing happened to them. And that's the reason how they managed to close 300 million Sing dollar worth of project in Singapore through a property portal.
Wow. Very motivating. Yes, thank you very much. Anybody else from your industry you want to share? Your success story or not so successful story? On use of technology. While you're thinking of your question, and I have two other questions. I see whether I have time. We got, I think, 3 more minutes. My next question is, where do you think is the next trend? Do you think that all the 5 points you mentioned or anything is going to, are we going to develop what we have now, or do you think that something else is coming, like robotic, AI? Or will we have a situation where you can actually hire robots to become estate agent for inspection? We can hire robotic architects or whatever, Are we going to go, where do we think we're going to do next after from here? Yeah. David, want to volunteer?
Well, if you look far ahead, if you look way ahead, there is already a lot of experimentation in 3D printing of homes in the US, I think in Europe maybe. So robotics can build homes. You don't need workers anymore. Gone will all be the contractors, because everything will be, a machine goes up, it's got a batch of cement, it's got a batch of, I don't know what, adhesive, and it just makes a 3D house. I mean, you can say this is too far in the future, but it's not really. I mean, things are moving so fast, this could be all within our lifetime. So that's one of the things.
Wow.
Another thing is around the whole area of financing. I mean, it was mentioned earlier, loan approval within a short period of time. Whoever you
Within 10
talk
minutes.
to it's the approval of the financing is holding back everyone. And if you think about, there was an IPO in Hong Kong, Shanghai of a company called Ant, A-N-T, which is literally Alibaba, and so on, 250 billion. Why? Because the payment flows are key. The same thing is true for Grab. The same thing is true for Gojek. It is about the payment flows. Who controls the payment flows will win.
What do you think, CL?
Yeah, actually, it's a good question. It's also hard to actually explain. But one thing that I would like to share with you is this. I believe there's actually governments here, government agencies, there's developers, there's also a lot of owners here. So my advice will be set up an innovation team, reporting directly under you. Even we are tech companies, I set up a team 2 years ago. They directly reporting to me. Why I actually say this? and there's a government agency out there. Let me actually bring this up. Construction University of Shenyang, China, invited me last year, I think around September, to go and share with them what is property technology is all about in that universities. Right, I'm here asking you, as a government, as a developers, as any bosses out there, set up an innovation team. Any ideas, any good ideas? We are lacking of good ideas to implement into real estate technology. So the answer is the trend is tremendous. It's everywhere. It's everything. As long as you be able to change whatever things that we work today. That's why they call disruption. I don't agree with all the panelists say it's not disruption. It's actually to complement. So do that today. Since you're actually here, KSI did a very good topics for us to discuss or whatsoever. Do that. If I were you, I would do it tomorrow.
Why not tonight?
Yeah, why not?
Or why not today? Or why not after this? Yeah. Thank you very much. If you have your last burning question, this is your opportunities to speak. Otherwise, you can talk to them after this. It might cost you a coffee, or you can approach them another day. And with that, if I could just have a quick summary of the section today, we are just right on the dot. Property technology, yes, the way to go, yes. Is it disruptive? Not necessary. It's complementary. There are challenges, but the opportunities and the benefit weigh. It takes. There's a lot more opportunities than the challenges. Is it a total? Can you use technology to replace a human being? Probably not yet. There's different levels depending on you are. Human interaction is probably still play a role. What are the new technology trends? You have heard about it. How can this be useful? Yes, to developers, to buyers, to even estate agents. And I hope you have been all encouraged by how business can actually do better using technology, and at a time where nothing else seems to be able to move or physical wise. And with that, thank you very much for being here today, and thanks to the organizer KSI, and thank you very much again to the panel, to my very capable panel who has made this session very interesting. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.